Good evening, students.
Good evening, madam.
Good evening. Today, under comparative education, a little bit different topic, changes in philosophical foundations of education in developed countries. Changes in philosophical foundations of education in developed countries. So, as you all know, philosophy and education is two sides of a coin. That means you can't separate from philosophy uh, 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 from education and education from philosophy. So without philosophy, education is blind. Without education, philosophy is blind. So there is a very close relationship between philosophy and education. So what are the changes taken place in those developed countries? Not developing countries, developed countries. So these are the things, right? The shift from traditionalism to progressive education. So tradition, it's a very old system, tradition. I think our education system, if you are comparing with other countries, right? So our education system also started with traditional methods. So actually, Gurukula education, that means a teacher and a student. There's no school, right? So in a religious place, the teacher will teach the student. So the student have to go to that place and do everything for the teacher and will learn, right? So later, the schools develop and the population also increased, right? So step by step, the education came to the school. So here it is early 20th century, right? So we are talking about early 20th century. What was the plight of traditionalism to progressive education? Early 20th means already developed, right? So education in many developed countries was largely based on traditional philosophies. So under philosophy, traditional philosophers are there, Western philosophers are there, right? So traditional philosophers always thinking in traditional way, Western philosophers thinking in scientific way. That is the difference, right? So, traditional philosophies often influenced by classical ideas of formalism, discipline, and a focus on rote learning. So, rote learning means you're just reading, right? Not a deep learning, rote learning. Schools were institutions of authority where the teacher's role was transmit knowledge to passive students. So one-way communication. Teacher will convey the message, transmit the message to the students. Students will passively listen. Right? That is the way in early 20th century. So uh, at the same time, progressive education movement. In the early 20th century, especially in the US and parts of Europe, there was a move towards progressive education. Right? So the progressive education started by John Dewey. He's a US person, America, and he's a professor as well as a psychologist. And in Chicago University, right? So, John Dewey, influenced by thinkers like John Dewey. So this was the progressive education influenced by thinkers like John Dewey. Dewey emphasized experiential learning. Is anybody knows what is experiential learning? Can anybody explain? Experiential learning. Experience. What is experience? Life experiences. Right? So through experiences, that means we are doing and learning. So Dewey is philosophy is learning by doing, right? So we are by that students will get experience, right? So trial and error methods. So starting point will be hard, right? But anyway, making mistakes and continuously the students will try and learn, right? So experiential learning, democratic classroom environments. So earlier, the classroom environment was not that, right? So in the religious places only students learned, and later schools were established. So here, the environment of the school classroom is democratic, right? So it's similar facilities and no bias, right? Anyone can learn. So in that democratic environment. And the development of critical thinking. So it's democratic means children can work freely. They have freedom to work, learn. So development of critical thinking. So what is critical thinking? So you are learning uh, these new words, right? Progressive education, that of course it's old. The John Dewey start that progressive education. The John Dewey's, right? His philosophy is pragmatism and progressivism, both, right? And it is influenced by John Dewey. And John Dewey emphasized experiential learning, democratic classroom environments, and the development of critical thinking. So critical thinking means when the child is working alone, right? So he will be thinking and rethinking, making mistakes and redoing things and inventing a new thing, right? Critically viewing, right? So critical thinking is a 21st century skill, right? But here it was started in early 20th century, but critical thinking is 21st century, consider as a 21st century skill, right? So this shift aligned with the growing need for education systems to adapt to the changing needs of democratic societies and industrial economics. So the traditional philosophers prepared this proposed curriculum, and they wanted to this make the teacher's role. Every philosopher had said about the teacher's role, and um, according to subjects, right? Um, so teacher's role, student's role, and what are the subject they have to offer, all the things every traditional philosophers were proposed, right? But so later, right, it is in the 19th century and before, but in the 20th century, right, so Dewey is not a very old person, right? Um, so in um, I will show the Dewey's thing also, right? Um, John Dewey thinking in different way, right? So earlier it was teacher-centered education, especially um, Plato's education is teacher-centered. He's the only person wants to have the education under teacher-centered. All the other philosophers are child-centered. So, do we also this democratic classroom and this Dewey's pragmatism, progressivism, both coming under uh, child-centered education. So, John Dewey only state that teacher is not a lecturer. He's not going to do the lecturing. Is prohibited in John Dewey's philosophy, and he requests the teacher to be a facilitator, provide necessary study materials to the children, so the children have to work on their own. That is the philosophy of John Dewey, right? So that is progressive education movement. So philosophically, changes are taking place in education. And the third one is reform movements. Many developed countries began to adopt curricula that focus on student-centered learning, right? So Dewey started that, right? Even Rousseau also proposed child-centered learning, right? And Gandhi also, Mahatma Gandhi also proposed child-centered learning, mostly this vocational side Mahatma Gandhi taught. So here, many developed countries began to adopt curricula that focused on student-centered learning, integrating subjects like arts, sciences, and social studies in ways that encourage curiosity, problem solving, and the application of knowledge to real world situation. So problem solving also one of the 21st century skill, right? So uh, in the 21st century, right, the teaching methods. teaching method is a problem-based learning, right? So problem-based learning is also a kind of problem solving, right? So we are giving this a problem or task to the students, and they will gather information and find uh, the students will discuss and they will come with the solution, right? They will solve the problem. So problem solving and the application of knowledge to real world situation. So the application side also develop, right? So shift from traditionalism to progressivism is the first philosophical change. And the second change is humanism and constructivism, right? Humanity, right? So there are a lot of humanistic theories, right? So humanism in the post-World War II era, education in developed countries began to focus more on the individual and their potential, right? So now they are suggesting teachers to identify the potential of the students. Even Howard Gardner is formulated a theory called multiple intelligence. So Howard Gardner also mentioning there are 8 intelligence in each person. So schools are using only 3 intelligence. So why can't they use the other intelligence too? Right? So all the students can't be good in academic side. So if the teacher identify the other intelligence, teacher can guide the children to go in that side, that path, right? So here, the focus more on the individual and their potential. So philosophies such as humanism, influenced by figures like Abraham Maslow and Carl Rogers. Have you heard Abraham Maslow? What is the theory of Maslow? So normally psychology is no psychology without Abraham Maslow, right? So that's a famous and easy theory. Uh, is anybody knows what is the theory? Yes?
Motivation.
Under motivation also we are mentioning, but what is the name of that theory?
Hierarchical theory.
Huh?
Maslow's hierarchical theory.
Yes, hierarchical theory. What hierarchy is there?
About the basic
Needs.
needs.
Need, yes, needs theory. He's talking about humans' need, right? So what is the shape of that theory? Special feature structure is there for the Maslow theory.
Triangle, madam.
Yes, what is the shape? Yes, triangular. It's a triangular system. Just I will show you. Right, so Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? So one student told hierarchy and the other one is told needs, right? So this theory, Abraham Maslow's theory is hierarchy of needs, right? So how many stages are there? Is anybody
There are five.
how many?
Five.
Five.
Five stages.
5 stages. Okay. So what is the first one?
Psychological needs.
Yes, psychological need, right? So that triangle, this triangle, that shape photo is also there, right? But not in this. I will show that also, right? The first one, physiological needs. So physiological needs means, right, fundamental needs. That means air, water, food, shelter, sleep, right? Those are the physiological needs, right? So why that is the huge one. The bottom one is physiological need. So the significance of this physiological need, until these basic needs are satisfied, individuals are motivated primarily by the desire to fulfill them. Once satisfied, attention shift to high level needs. The children's basic need is not met, right? They are not going to concentrate in study. So the teachers will find difficult to get their attention, right? So for that only, the government has suggested this food, and so they are providing food for children, right? So if the children are hungry, they can't concentrate on study, right? So the hungry is also a physiological need or basic need, right? So second one is safety need, right? So after completing the first need, the security need or safety need will occur, right? And the third one is social need, fourth one is esteem needs, and the fifth one is actualization need, right? And like Abraham Maslow and Carl Rogers. What is the theory of Carl Rogers? So it is also coming under humanistic theory. One theory is hierarchy of needs, Abraham Maslow's. The other one is Carl Rogers, humanistic theory, right? So I'll just show that theory also. So Carl Rogers' analysis of the person, right? He's talking about self-concept, right? So every individual have to have self-concept. According to Carl Rogers, is the set of beliefs and perception that an individual holds about themselves. So we must know our strengths and weaknesses, right? It encompasses how a person sees their own abilities, characteristic, and overall identity, right? If we know the strength, we can make the strength more. If we know the weaknesses, we can get rid of that weaknesses, right? So self-concept is one idea of Carl Rogers, and the second one, phenomenal field. So individuals' unique and subjective perception of their experience, thoughts, and emotion at any given moment, right? He's talking about phenomenal field, right? So according to your module, it is not needed in depth, right? But anyway, you must know What is the Abraham Maslow's hierarchical theory? Because Carl Rogers' theory, humanistic, these two humanistic theories are very important and very popular, right? So they have included here philosophies such humanism, influenced by figures like Abraham Maslow and Carl Rogers, social needs. Right? Self-concept is also emotional, coming under these needs, right? So to be survive and be successful in the society, a person have to meet the needs, right? And also a person have to have the phenomenal world and also self-concept, right? So Abraham Maslow is saying after each category completed, right, the last one is self-actualization. So the self-actualization means the person achieved everything, right? So now he is achieved everything and thinking uh, um, that I have now enough, right? So I have achieved everything. So now I have to start to help others, right? So there are, and the pyramid, right? Normally we are not calling that triangle, it's a pyramid. So the pyramid shape structure is only hierarchy needs of Maslow's. So the top part only self-actualization part. So it's very small, right? When we compare to the bottom side, it's very small. It shows few self-actualization people will be there in the world. So they are the people helping others. So this Tata company owner, right? He used to help in to the poor people every year. His million rupees he is spending for poor people. So he's a self-actualized person, right? Now he is thinking to others, help to others, right? So here it was said, right? Education was seen as a tool for self-actualization, and school began to focus on the holistic development of students, right? So self-actualization means through education also, through education only, they can achieve the self-actualization, right? And they're talking about, philosophy is talking about holistic development. So holistic development means the students have to physically fit, mentally fit, socially fit, spiritually fit, right? So then only the child will be getting a holistic development, right? Now, if a child is good in education only, it's not going to give a good citizen to the country, right? So as a school, the school's responsibility to prepare holistic developed child to the nation, right? And constructivism. Humanism is one. The other one is constructivism. These are all philosophies, right? So constructor. Who is constructor? Building constructors. So people who are building these flats or schools or anything, right? So they are starting from the foundation and step by step they are preparing the first floor, second floor and the roof, right? So Likewise, students also construct their own knowledge. We have to give the basic, right? So we are teaching letters, numerical, numbers, adding, subtracting, right? So the basic things we are giving, the students will construct their knowledge with having that, right? So in the later 20th century, so in the first philosophical changes, we are talking about early 20th century, but constructivism came in the later 20th century, right? Constructivist theories gained traction. Thinkers like Jean Piaget, Lev Vygotsky, and Jerome Bruner. Have you heard about these three people? Piaget, Vygotsky, Bruner.
Yes, madam.
Who are they? Do you know anything about Piaget? What is the speciality of him? Vygotsky, Bruner. Yes? Anybody?
Yes.
So Piaget is formulated a theory, right? He's also very famous.
Cognitive development.
Cognitive theory, right? So cognitive means knowledge. So he did a research how the children are absorbing knowledge, right? So he did his research in his own children. Every day he observed how his children develop in knowledge, right? What are they doing? How many words they are picking up? And so Piaget only did that experiment. Um, so the same size of glasses, 2 glasses of water, no, two glasses of water, and the teacher is pouring 1 glass of water in a cylinder, right? So the child, if you ask the child which one have more water, definitely the child will say the taller one, cylinder, right? So abstract thinking is not there, right? So in that way, he explained regarding how a child is learning. So that theory is very helpful to prepare preschool and primary curriculum, right? According to the age only, we have the child can learn, right? So when we are preparing curriculum, we have to prepare accordingly, because if we are preparing more curriculum, more standard, children will find difficult. If it is lower than that level, also not good, right? So Piaget. And the second person is Vygotsky. But these three are psychologists. Vygotsky is talking about social learning. And also he is mostly um, this language side, or how the language can be developed. He did research on that. Zonal approximate level, right? So every child is having a potential level. right? If someone can help the child, definitely that level will be increased, right? So that zone proximal that level is the famous part of Vygotsky, right? And Brunner, I think more than 100 years, these three. So at that time itself, Brunner told that how children are learning, right? So, and he is only emphasizing the children have to learn by discovery. Discovery learning introduced by Brunner, right? So these three things are so philosophically importance of this theory is the teacher must know how the children are learning, right? And the teacher can increase the potential level of that student, and also teacher must allow the students to discover things. So teacher have to set work, right? And the teacher have to be a facilitator, right? So constructivism means the children are constructing their own knowledge, right? So how the constructor is making a building, right? So likewise, the children also have to build up their own knowledge, right? So under constructivism, only 5E method introduced. Even in the 5E method, right, the teacher will give a problem and you have to find the solution, right? So under 5 is, so how you're exploring, how you're these explaining, right? And how the teacher is evaluating, how, so in 5 steps they are doing, right? 5B method. Wait, if I possible. So can you see this person? Can you see this slide?
Yes, madam.
Yeah.
Yes.
So who is he? Can you guess who is he? This is Brunner. right? So Brunner, the process of education. So he born in New York, right? So at the age of 2, underwent surgeries to correct vision impairment due to cataracts. Attended Duke University in North Carolina, where he obtained a BA in 1937. Received a PhD from Harvard University in 1941. So Jerome S. Bruner is considered as the advocate of learning by discovery, right? So this is the learning modes of this Bruner. Inactive. Small children play with the book. They are inactive, just watching. Then the second stage, they are looking at the picture and imagining. Right, so in the small age, we are starting the children starting the reading, and that we are offering books and things, right? But in the second stage, we have to use the pictures to teach. And the third one, symbolic, read for research, right? So inactive stage, iconic stage, symbolic stage. Birth to 3 inactive, 3 to 8 iconic. That means using pictures. So at this age, teachers can use more pictures to teach. Symbolic age from 8, you have to represent things, right? So they like to identify discovery, right? So inactive means a mode of representing past events through appropriate motor responses. So iconic stage, here you can see they are learning by pictures. Symbolic, little bit confused one. Information is stored in the form of code or symbols such as language. So Bruner is the father of discovery learning. Here see discovery learning. So children are doing, right? Learning by doing, right? They are, so teacher is not helping here, but she provided all the necessary study material for them, right? So constructivism, paradigm of learning, learners create their own subjective construct of reality. Under discovery learning method of instruction, learning is best achieved through a process of inquiry. So it's a spiral construction method. So spiral curriculum is also came from this, right? So this is the concept map of Bruner's theory. Here, the Vygotsky one, scaffolding theory. Right, so I just want to show this one, right? See how the teacher is teaching the students using Bruner's discovery learning. Right? So teacher is asking, checking the previous knowledge, asking some questions. So the children can answer. Right? So hello kids, remember last week we learned about some sources of air pollution. Can you name some of them? So these children are naming. So that means they can remember the last lesson, right? So now he is starting with iconic, using a picture. Very good. Today I have brought a picture for you all to see. It's a polar bear from the South Pole. Wait a second. Something doesn't seem right in the picture. It looks as though the ice around the bear is melting and breaking apart. We have to think it's why this is happening. Maybe the earth is becoming warmer. Right? Using a picture, and the teacher is not directly say that we are going to learn global warming, right? Through picture, he is bringing the topic. Right? And okay, kids, it's the time to get going. We have a mystery to solve. I'm going to send you all on a mission to find out why the climate is getting warmer. Now, what is the term we use to describe this? So the child is answering global warming. Yes, well done. Now you will all embark on a web quest and you will work in groups as researchers, environmentalists, and climate scientists to find the causes of global warming and its effects on our environment. Do you accept this mission? So here see, without saying we are going to do group activity and these are the groups, right? So see the group also related to this topic, researchers, environmentalists, climate scientists. So here the children are come out with, yes, I will be the researcher, I wish to be an environmentalist, and so they are categorizing, right? Now they are working on their own. Teacher is just watching. Whenever they need the service, the teacher will help, right? They are doing the presentation, right? So the following day, hey kids, today you are going to design a poster where you will offer solution to the ever-increasing problem of global warming to sensitize people. Continuation of the second lesson, right? So even here you can see children are working, not the teacher. So they have prepared the poster, right? And well done, kids. Each group has created a fantastic poster. You all voted for group Dolphin poster as the best one. Congratulations. Alright, so so motivating by giving a trophy, right? So here, the other thing you have to consider, children have voted. Teacher didn't select. So children voted for one poster. According to that only, that group got this trophy, right? So these are the so we are learning the theory, but we are not practicing. So now you know how to practice Bruner's theory, right? Likewise, when you learn a theory, you will be able to apply in your classroom, right? The role of the teacher should not be teach information by rote learning, but to facilitate the learning process. A good teacher designs lesson that can help students discover the relationship between bits of information. The teacher must give the information they need, but without organizing for them, right? Okay, so under constructivism, Jean Piaget is stating how to construct the knowledge. Vygotsky construct the social skills and the language. Jerome Bruner, discovery learning, right? So Jerome Bruner argued that students actively construct their own knowledge through experiences and social interaction. This perspective shifted the role of the teacher from knowledge dispensers to facilitators of learning. So that is the change take place because of the philosophy. The teachers are now not directly lecturing, they are reforming their role as facilitators, right? That is the second change took place. And the third one, focus on social justice and critical pedagogy. What is critical pedagogy? Right? Read this, see whether you can understand. Earlier we learned critical thinking, but critical pedagogy. Pedagogy is teaching method. So critical pedagogy is something related to creatively thinking, right? We, as a teacher, we have to creatively thinking and prepare the teaching method. At the same time, children also will have to creatively participate. So in the late 20th century, philosophers such as Paulo Freire, right, is from Brazil, Paulo Freire, and he's the person who started the adult education. He educated nearly 2 million people, rubber tappers in Brazil, because they are illiterate. They don't know to read and write. So Paulo Freire teach them within 3 months, right? So it's a mobile class. So he did that, and he taught the important things, important words for them. And within 3 months, they are able to speak and write. So after they becoming literate, they can vote, right? Earlier, only elite people can vote. So the political arena fully captured by elite people. Later, these people also vote and make some changes. So Paulo Freire is also a recent philosopher. He died in 1994 or something, right? So Paulo Freire and Henry Giroux brought attention to the role of education in promoting social justice. So why education is only for elite people, right? So the other people also have to have education, social justice. So he is oppressed people. Oppressed means his book is Oppressed Pedagogy. So he is, invented a new type of methodology to teach these adult people, that is called oppressed pedagogy, right? So Freire's pedagogy of the oppressed highlighted how education system could either perpetuate or challenge power structures and societal inequalities. Education was viewed as a way to empower marginalized groups and foster critical consciousness, right? So traditional philosophers are there, Western philosophers are there, and Western philosophers only these people also coming, but they did a very important job, right? That means oppressed, those who are marginalized, poor people. Oppressed means the elite people, keep them as slaves, right? Only for work. So that type of people, right, made the Paulo Freire made them illiterate, right? So he used this new method of pedagogy, oppressed pedagogy, right? And the other change, inclusive education, right? Even now in Sri Lanka, our education system is inclusive education. So along with the critical pedagogy, there was a growing emphasis on inclusive education, ensuring that all students, regardless of race, gender, socio-economic background, or disabilities, had access to equal educational opportunities. Right? All the students, normal students, gifted students, special needs children, differently able children, everyone in one class under one roof. That is inclusive education. We are giving same right to every student. And the fourth change, postmodernism and the rejection of grand narratives. So what is postmodern influence? By the late 20th century, we are talking about early century first and then late 20th century. Postmodernism began to influence educational philosophy, particularly in developed countries. Postmodern thinkers like Michael Foucault and Jean Farenthollis and Lyotard challenged the grand narratives of traditional education systems and promoted skepticism towards universal truth or standardized form of knowledge. So the narrating story is one of the best method for teaching small children in the primary or pre-primary. So Plato only introduced this method, traditional philosopher. So he emphasized in his proposed curriculum, even when using the stories, right, it should be censor, right? Good thing, positive thing have to be there in the stories. So select that type of stories to the curriculum, right? So even here, the educational system have to promote, right, these narratives. This led to greater acceptance of diverse perspectives, curricula that reflect multiple viewpoints, and the questioning of authority in educational setting. So we also know, even in our time, maybe our language book or a religion book, right, we will find stories. So that stories will give a good message to us, right? So positive messages, right? If we are doing good, we will get good, right? So with examples, those stories, right? So the stories can remember by students for a very long time. And the other one, deconstruction of traditional norms. So postmodernism rejection of absolute truth led to more fluid understanding of knowledge, encouraging teachers and students to explore multiple interpretations, relativism, and the value of subjectivity in the learning process. So traditional norms is deconstructing. So in the postmodernism, so they are thinking in scientific way. They are not believing everything. They are asking questions, right? So 21st century also having that question method. the question inquiry method, inquiry-based learning. So this is started from philosopher Socrates. So the Socrates is the father of philosophy. So he is very knowledgeable person. So always students going behind him. If they ask anything, right, the Plato will never give the direct answer. He will ask several questions and make the students to think, and they will find the answer. That is the inquiry-based learning we are using in 21st century, right? And the fifth one, globalization and multicultural education. We are coming to our days, right? Globalization and multicultural education. I think you all can understand what is globalization. Now we are in a globalized village. That means the whole world is one village now, because we can contact anyone in any part of the world very easily because of the technology, right? So globalization, as developed countries became more interconnected with the global economy and society, education systems began to reflect the need for global perspective. Philosophical foundations started to integrate global citizenship, encouraging students to understand global issues such as climate change, human rights, and international relations. So now we are not thinking in Sri Lankan way, we have to think in global way. We have to compete with global standards, right? So globalization, another philosophical change, and the multicultural education. So Sri Lanka is also a multicultural country. So there was an increased recognition of the importance of multicultural education, particularly in increasingly diverse societies. Educational philosophies were adjusted to include respect for different cultures, histories, and languages, promoting inclusivity and intercultural understanding. So multicultural education is there in US, right? Most of the countries, because the refugees are coming, right, from different countries. So America, already we have learned in the language issues, right? So they have to cater all the nationality people. So it's a multicultural society, so they need multicultural education. So they have to learn every diverse societies, cultures, histories, and language. And we learn some indigenous language have danger because the present youngsters, they don't like to learn indigenous language. They wanted to come and learn English in the urban schools, right? And the sixth change regarding philosophy, technology and digital revolution. So this is the most important part now because we are in a technology era, right? Day by day, technology is developing, right? So technological integration. With the advent of the digital age, education in developed countries began to embrace technology as a tool for learning. So you all can remember during the Corona period, everyone started online class, right? So schools run by online classes. Without going to school, they cover the syllabus, right? And even in our campus, we did everything online, and we did online exams, and released the results, and there's no delay at all. And we conducted the convocation also on time because of this technology, right? So earlier, more than 30, 40 years back, we can't do that, right? But now we are fortunate to do use technology and continue the studies. And the philosophical foundation of education now had to consider the implication of online learning, artificial intelligence, and digital literacy. So what is artificial intelligence? Can anyone give any comments or ideas? What is artificial intelligence? As teachers, you must know, if a child asks teacher what is artificial intelligence, he'll be able to answer. So intelligence, you know, right? Artificial intelligence, not a natural intelligence. Even the computer is not a natural intelligence, but computer can save knowledge, right? Keep knowledge whenever we need. It is retrieving. So it is artificial intelligence. And recently in India, they have introduced this um, artificial intelligence teacher, right? So now a lot of apps have come under artificial intelligence, maybe for the translation, and a lot of learning things can be done from that, right? So that is also a new thing, change, right? So the philosophical foundations of education now had to consider the implications of online learning, artificial intelligence, and digital literacy. And philosophy of technology in education. The integration of technology into education has raised question about its role in shaping knowledge, identity, and social interactions. So even now we are using this technology, right? So via Zoom, we are learning, right? I'm in Colombo and you all are in different places, very far, but we can interact each other, right? So technology in education, and now we are using PowerPoints, normally smart boards, right, in schools. Now mostly we have to use technology, we have to integrate technology into our day-to-day learning process. So then it will come as blended learning. Traditional plus technology will be blended learning, right? So the integration of technology into education has raised questions about its role in shaping knowledge, identity, and social interaction. And some philosophers of education like Neil Postman critique the over-reliance on technology, warning of its dehumanization potential, while others embrace the use of technology as a means of expanding educational opportunities. So some people are encouraging and some are discouraging, right? So how can be an artificial intelligent teacher can replace the normal teacher? So they are requesting, so we are losing our jobs, right? So in artificial intelligence, if they are creating more artificial intelligent teachers, so there's no need to appoint teachers, right? So technology and digital revolution is another change. And the seventh one, neoliberalism and education reform. So neoliberalism influence since the 1980, neoliberal philosophies have influenced educational policies in developed countries, emphasizing market-driven reforms, competition, and accountability. The shift toward standardized testing, school rankings, and focus on measurable outcomes is a part of this trend. Right? So the changing in standardized testing, school ranking, right, coming under neoliberalism. The belief in education as a tool for individual economic mobility has become more prominent with a growing focus on skills, training, and preparing students for the workforce. And critique of neoliberalism. However, some philosophers of education have critiqued this shift, arguing that it undermines the broader, more holistic goals of education, such as critical thinking, creativity, and civic engagement. Think of an artificial intelligent teacher. We know, but the artificial intelligent teacher is look like a maybe a male or female. They are dressed and look like a normal teacher, right? But it's like a computer, right? We can do work, right? We can retrieve everything. The artificial intelligent teacher can teach very well, but there's no humanity. So the teacher-student relationship is very important for education. That's what people are criticizing this. These critics advocate the return of educational ideas that focus on social justice, human development, and democratic values. And the eighth one, environmental education and sustainability. So environmental philosophy in the 21st century education in developed countries has increasingly been shaped by concerns about sustainability and environmental issues. Right? So sustainability means we are using the resources and we have to keep the resources to use our next generation. That means we can't waste our resources, right? So philosophers and educators have called for integrating environmental education into curricula, focusing on eco-literacy and ethical responsibility towards the planet. So environmental education. So we have ERA subject, environmental related activities. So under that we can include these type of things, but ERA is in primary classes, very small children. So don't know whether they can understand, right? But these concepts also have to be included in our curriculum. That's what philosophers are requesting. And ethical consideration as climate change become a critical issue, educational philosophies have begun to reflect the need for ethical frameworks that guide students to think critically about their role in creating sustainable future. So we have to think of our land, we have to think of our air, and we have to think of our water. So especially water is limited. Only 5% water can drink. All the other water is salted, ocean water. So through education, we have to bear the social responsibility of the children. That is also one change took place. Another one, ninth one, lifelong learning and continuous education. This is also a modern trend. Lifelong learning and continuous education. So earlier, right, in the early 20th century, they don't have this concept, right? Later, 20th century only, they think of this lifelong education or learning and continuous education. Shift toward lifelong education, learning in the 21st century. Now we came to 21st century, early 20th century, late 20th century, and now we are in 21st century. In the 21st century, the rapid pace of technological and economical change has led to an emphasis on lifelong learning. Philosophical views on education now stress the importance of continuous education and adaptability. This shift requires educational system to rethink how they support learning throughout a person's life, beyond formal schooling, as well as how they prepare individuals for ever changing world. Right? Uh, so actually, we have to learn normally under philosophy, we will learn type of learnings. Right? We have main three types of learning: formal, non-formal, informal. Have you heard these three words before? Formal, non-formal, informal. Yes, anybody?
Yes.
So
Yes.
what is formal education?
With the curriculum in the school.
Hmm. Yeah, school education, formal, because we are having a school, right? And classrooms, syllabuses, textbooks, teachers are appointed, same age group students are there in class, right? So formally there are subjects, right, according to the curriculum. Primary will have a number of subjects and secondary A level, right? So we have a structure of the education. So that type of education will issue certificates. You have to do exams. So that type of education, especially chronological age, right? In each class, the children will have somewhat similar age, right? Maybe months different, but similar age. So that type of education is called formal education. Even university education also formal education. Right? Another education called non-formal education. Other than school, if there are people who are studying and they are it's also flexible setup of learning, no age limit, right? Mostly skillful subjects are going on. According to the learner's wish, they will prepare the syllabus, right? So in that setup, right, is non-formal education. And the third one is informal education, right? So informal means even though a person not yet into school can learn from TV, computer, right? And if a person can read and write, that person can, from books, they can learn, right? So informal. If even I can learn cooking from my mother, that is informal education. I will, this through watching YouTube and preparing snacks or shorties, that is also informal education. There's no teacher, right? According to my interest, I'm learning, right? In the formal education, teacher is teaching, right? Formal setup is there. In under non-formal, it is also have teachers, but not like school. Here adults are learning, so it's in andragogy. School type is pedagogy, and adult education, non-formal education is andragogy. That means teacher is also teaching, at the same time students also teaching, because they are knowledgeable, right? So that is also a shift in the so small electricity drop, right? So the from focus on traditionalism and authority to an emphasis on student-centered learning, social justice, and the role of technology. These changes continue to evolve, shaping the future of education in complex and dynamic ways. Right? So, under these changes, the most important part is education technology. So, what are the changes took place related to educational technology? That is also very important, right? So, as teachers, now we are in a position to use, forcibly we have to use education technology because of the children. Children are interested in technology and they know more than us, even to operate the mobile or any other devices. And they are now knowledgeable. They are reading a lot through this internet and things. So we also have to be ready to face that challenge. So education and technological progress are deeply intertwined, with advancement in technology transforming the way we teach, learn, and engage with knowledge. So we are also finding a lot of knowledge, a lot of information from internet, right? Over the past few decades, technological progress has reshaped education system worldwide, offering new opportunities and challenges. Right, so nowadays, right, I think in Sri Lanka is the one of the country using more mobiles. Sometimes a person have 2 to 3 mobiles. Each and every corner of people are using mobile, right? So that is also technology. So if we are using that mobile phone to educate something, definitely it is that we are using technology for education. So over the past few decades, technology progress has reshaped education system worldwide, offering new opportunities and challenges. Below are some key aspects of relationship between education and technology progress. So under education technology, the first one is access to information and knowledge. How we are using technology to collect or gather information and knowledge. The internet as a knowledge hub. Right nowadays, without internet, we can't do any work. The internet has revolutionized access to information. If you want research information, if you want to say film information or maybe any other subject information, current information, everything is available in the internet. So online platforms like Google, YouTube, and specialized educational websites provide instant access to vast amounts of content. So students no longer rely solely on textbooks or teachers as resources of information. Right? So earlier, we have to use library. We have to borrow books. So reference books we can't take, and even the other books we have to return in certain days. Sometimes some books continuously renewing by one person. So no one can't reach for that, right? But nowadays it is not the case. Internet, right? One book can be used by million people at once, right? So students no longer rely solely on textbooks or teachers as sources of information. They can explore a wide range of perspectives, materials, and tutorials, enhancing their ability to learn independently. Right? So this is also one challenge for teachers. Right? The students, especially English medium classes students, they are not give much attention because they can learn from through internet, right? So so sometimes they are challenging the teachers also. So they can explore a wide range of perspective, materials, and tutorials, enhancing their ability to learn independently. And the other thing is open educational resources. The development of free and open educational resources had made high quality learning materials available to anyone with an internet connection. This has democratized education allowing students in remote areas or underserved communities to access the same learning resources as those in well-funded institutions. So the discrimination is now not, but even though our Sri Lankan schools, even the families, those who are living in rural area, they are very poor and they are not afford to buy a laptop. Sometimes during the online classes time, Corona time, the children are seated in the roof of the house to get the signals, right? So there are issues in online access in Sri Lanka. So access to information and knowledge. And the second one, personalized learning, right? Adaptive learning technologies, advances in AI, artificial intelligence, and machine learning have led to the development of adaptive learning systems that tailor content to the needs of individual students. So, don't know whether we can ask questions and artificial intelligent teachers, right? We don't have any kind of experiences. So we have to check whether in every aspect it is like a real teacher, right? So platforms like Khan Academy, Coursera, or Duolingo offer personalized learning experience, adjusting the difficulty of exercises based on a learner's progress. There are a lot of apps, right? So learning analytics. By analyzing students' behavior, performance, and interactions with learning platforms, educators can gain insights into their strengths and weaknesses. So we can analyze ourselves, right? So we can analyze our strengths and weaknesses. So educators, the data-driven approach allows for more effective intervention and personalized support, helping students to progress their own pace, right? So even the slow learners also can do. Gifted learners also learn very quickly, right? So this method is using by Finland, Philippines, Korea, and Malaysia. So their education system is flipped method, right? And third one, blended and online learning. That is what we have now. E-learning platforms. The rise of e-learning platforms like OSIA, EDX, and Udacity has made education more flexible, allowing learners to access courses from top universities and institutions worldwide without leaving their homes. Right? Have you used this Coursera, edX, and Udacity? I didn't use. Is anybody use these platforms, e-learning? Right? I think the students must know, right? They are always searching for new apps, right? In a way, they are interested in technology is also good. This has opened up new avenues for lifelong learning where individuals can update their skills or pursue new fields at any stage of their life. So e-learning platform is important for lifelong education. Anyone can learn anytime at any age. And blended learning which combines traditional in-person instruction with online content has become increasingly popular. Technologies like learning management system, LMS now, even schools are using, universities are using. So the children have to upload everything via LMS. The teachers are uploading study materials in LMS. We can do quizzes, right? Lot of things can be done by LMS, right? So it's free of charge. So most of the educational institutions are using this LMS app. Enable educators to design hybrid courses that leverage the benefits of both face-to-face and online interaction. So this is the third change. And collaboration and global connectivity, collaborative tools. Technological tools like Google Workplace, Microsoft Teams, and Slack have transformed how students and teachers collaborate. Right? Zoom also the same. These platforms allow for real-time communication, document sharing, and group work, enhancing teamwork and peer-to-peer learning. Right? Collaboration and global connectivity. Global classrooms. Technology has made it easier for students to collaborate with peers from different parts of the world. Video conferencing tools like Zoom, Skype, and Google Meet enable cross-cultural exchanges, allowing students to work on international projects and gain exposure to diverse perspectives. Right? So technology, so we are in technology era, and technology made a lot of changes in education. And the fifth one, digital literacy and 21st century skills. Critical digital literacy. As technology plays an increasingly significant role in education, students must be equipped with digital literacy skills. This includes not just the ability to use technology effectively, but also the ability to critically assess information, navigate digital spaces responsibly, and understand the ethical implication of technology. So we are in the 21st century, and now teachers are expected to use 21st century skills. So modern education emphasizes skills like problem solving, creativity, collaboration, and communication, skills that are enhanced through the use of technology. So under 21st century, 4 C's, right? There are 16 skills. So 4 skills are main skills. That is critical thinking, creativity, communication skills, and collaboration, right? So the integration of tools like coding platforms, robotic kits, and design software helps students develop technical skills while fostering critical thinking and creativity. So have you heard about gamification in education? That is also coming under educational technology. Gamification. Right? So they are preparing games, right? So I can remember, right? One student, right, in the religion, so in Hinduism, Thevaram, right? So the devotional songs, they have to memorize, right? So that student asked, teacher, can't you ask Ilayaraja to put music to this Thevaram so we can easily memorize, right? So in that way, gamification also like that, right? The difficult subjects are prepared in a game way, right? So through that, students can learn, right? So that is a new trend in education now. The integration of tools like coding platforms, robotic kits, and design software helps students develop technical skills while fostering critical thinking and creativity. The philosophical foundation of education in developed countries have evolved over time, responding to changes in societal values, technological advancement, economic demands, and political movements. Below are some key changes in the philosophical foundation, education in developed countries. This is what I told. gamification and virtual reality. Right? So gamification, the use of game design elements like points, badges, leaderboards in educational context known as gamification has become a popular way to engage students. Games can increase motivation and make learning more enjoyable by incorporating challenges, rewards, and a sense of achievement. So why children are very interested in video games, right? They are giving points and rewards, right? So they like to win. So again and again, they are continuously playing to achieve the goal, right? That type of thing introducing under gamification. Virtual and augmented reality. This is also another one, VR and AR. Virtual and virtual reality and augmented reality. Technologies are providing immersive learning experience that can stimulate real-world environments. For example, students studying history can take virtual field trips to ancient civilization, or medical students can practice surgeries in a virtual space, making complex or dangerous tasks safer and more engaging to learn. So planetarium, also another experience. You feel that you are in the this sky because you can see all the planets, right? So that is also a virtual reality, right? It is not true, but you can feel that. The seventh one, automation and artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence in education. Artificial intelligence is being used to automate administrative tasks, provide personalized learning path, and offer real-time feedback to students. Artificial intelligence powered tutoring system, for instance, can help students with specific problem and provide support outside of regular class hours. And artificial intelligence is also used in grading, allowing teachers to focus more on interactive and qualitative aspects of teaching. So nowadays, this artificial intelligence is helping a lot to find information, even writing letters, administrative works, right? And automated administrative tasks. Technology is streamlining administrative function like scheduling, grading, and student tracking. Automation of routine tasks can free up teachers' time, allowing them to focus on more meaningful interaction with students, right? See how educational technologies integrated into education administration work. And inclusive education, right? So under inclusive education, we are now using inclusive education in Sri Lanka. But here, assistive technology, right? So under inclusive education, education technology is very important, right? So assistive technologies. Technological advancement have played a critical role in making education more accessible for students with disabilities. Tools like screen readers, speech recognition software, and adaptive hardware enable students with physical or learning disabilities to participate in mainstream education. So apps are there. So a teacher can help disability students to be a normal child with the help of this in inclusive education. And universal design for learning. These things are now, don't think that these things are, we don't know and we are not aware of. You have to learn these things, right? More, so these are a little bit outdated. Right now, more new things have come. So if you don't know these things, right? So now in the 21st century, we can't be a teacher, right? We have to update our knowledge, right? So UDL, Universal Design for Learning. Technology supports the principles of UDL, which aims to make learning accessible and effective for all students. By providing multiple means of representation, expression, and engagement. For example, digital content can be customized in ways that cater to diverse learning styles and abilities. And the ninth one, can you read once?
Challenges and ethical considerations.
Yes, read.
Digital divide. While technology offers immense benefits, not all students have equal access to digital tools and the internet. The digital divide remains a significant issue, particularly in lower income communities or rural areas. Educational technology initiatives must address this gap to ensure equitable access to learning resources.
Can you understand that digital divide? So there are a lot of benefits from technology, but especially in Sri Lanka, it is not equal. The students cannot equally access, no signal, and the poor people can't afford to buy a laptop or a smartphone, right? So 3-4 students are using one mobile phone, right? So the digital divide remains a significant issue, particularly in lower income communities or rural areas. Educational technology initiative must address this gap to ensure equitable access to learning resources, right? Now you all are interacting with me via online, no, right? So you have to have at least smartphone to interact with me. So in your case, you all are teachers, you all are earning, so you will be afford to pay. But the poor people, they have problems, issues in using technology. That means equal access. So the government have to take some initiative in this. And privacy and security. Challenges, no, this is when we are using educational technology, we have to follow some ethics, right? And we have lot of challenges. Right? Especially our senior teachers, they don't have much knowledge in technical side because they are from different era, not in technological era, but most of the teachers have gone and learned some new courses and developed their side, right? So here privacy and security, right? So these the widespread of use educational technology raises concerns about student privacy and data security. Anyone can download from your computer, right? If you have a password, it's okay. Otherwise, right, sometimes they can open up a password also, right? And cyberbullying is another issue, right? More so some suicidal attempts also because of the cyberbullying, right? If mostly they are targeting gifted or talented students, right? And they are sending messages, wrong messages. So those children will be affected, and so actually jealousy, right? So that type of thing also there. With the increasing amount of personal data being collected through online platforms, there is a need for strong safeguards to protect students' information. So they can change the faces and send bad photos and all, no, right? Uh, so those things also there. And dependence of technology. There is also the concern of over-reliance on technology in education, right? So now we can see that if we are asking a question, children, right, the students are not thinking and answering. Directly they are going to Google and searching. So it is, so people are not thinking. There's no critical thinking or creative thinking. Always they are depending on this technology. That is also not good. While technology can enhance learning, it is important to maintain a balance, ensuring that students still develop essential interpersonal skills, critical thinking, and creativity that cannot be fully replaced by machines. Even artificial intelligence teachers also don't know whether it is fully a replacement of a teacher, right? And the 10th one, future trends in education and technology, right? Future trends. Artificial intelligence and deep learning, right? So now artificial intelligence is very popular. And so even in Sri Lanka, there are a lot of courses developing in artificial intelligence because it is the future thing. AI, artificial intelligence, continues to advance. We can expect even more sophisticated learning platforms that can predict students' need and adjust content in real time, offering highly personalized educational experiences. So if you go to these developed countries, right, a lot of things are based on artificial intelligence, right? So they are attracting these foreigners, right? In other country, people can go and watch. So that is so when we are walking through path, right, we can see these fish through, so it's closely coming, we can watch closely, right? So they have prepared in that way, right? Even 3D films, right? So yeah, we can feel, right? So that it's coming to closer to us and pushing water to us, right? In that way. So those things are under artificial intelligence. And blockchain and credential, blockchain technology is being explored as a mean to securely verify academic credential and ensure that educational qualifications are trusted across borders, opening the door for more flexible and transparent credentialing system. Right? Blockchain for credential. So we are blocking our these connections sometimes, right? So here blockchain for credential to safeguard. And edutainment, not entertainment, edutainment. The blending of education and entertainment will continue to evolve with more interactive and engaging ways to learn, particularly through video games, immersive virtual environments, and interactive storytelling. So this is the second part of even the module. You can read the module, right? So conclusion, technological progress has fundamentally challenged education by expanding access to information, fostering personalized learning, enhancing collaboration, and developing new forms of content delivery. However, this transformation also brings challenges related to equity, privacy, and role of technology in the classroom. As technology continues to evolve, the relationship between education and technology will remain central to shaping the future on learning and teaching. And the last part of it, employment and education. This, of course, you can understand. Without education, we can't go for any job, right? So, but you have to think, right? Every job requirement is something different, right? So they will select the people who have that type of requirements, that whatever the expectation is met, they will recruit the person. So they will have exams sometimes, and they might conduct interviews, right? So the relationship between employment and education is crucial and dynamic one, as education plays a central role in preparing individuals for the workforce and shaping economic opportunities, while employment trends influence the direction and nature of education system. Right, so we have lot of avenues. The people's needs are different. According to that only, the education system have to be prepared. So what is our people's need? How we can fulfill that? What type of courses we can prepare to do the perform that need in a proper way, right? So in that way, we have to think. The interaction is influenced by several factors, including economic shifts, technological advancements, societal needs, and policy changes. So here is a comprehensive look at how education and employment are interconnected. The relationship between employment and education is a crucial and dynamic one, as education plays central role in preparing individuals for the workforce and shaping economic opportunities. So under that, education as a pathway to employment, skill development, vocational and technical education. You know, now we have NVQ levels, that is coming under vocational education. So vocational technical education, VET, right? So plays vital role in preparing individuals. And last lesson we learned in Japan, people are not interested in university studies. They are joining to vocational educational colleges, because then only they can get a job very easily, right? So in that way, vocational and technical education as a pathway to employment. Higher education and career pathways. If you enter the university, if you enter the medical faculty, definitely you will become a doctor. So it is a profession. So you have your job, right? If you are doing dentist, if you are doing veterinary, job assurance is there. It is a professional job. Other than that, we have, so this graduates have to find jobs, right? So universities and colleges provide specialized education that can lead to careers in fields such as law, medicine, business, or the arts. Graduates often find higher paying jobs with more opportunities for advancement, as higher levels of education are typically associated with greater job security and better employment outcomes. Right, so to go up in the ladder, you have to educate yourself. You have to pass some extra exams. You have to have some more degrees, right? So you can't be with bachelor's only, right? You have to do master's, MPhil, PhD, right? Change in nature of employment, globalization and economic shift, automation and artificial intelligence. So the nature of employment is changing. And GIG economy, the growth of the GIG economy, freelance, temporary, and platform-based job. So nowadays, most of the jobs are not permanent. They are not giving permanent job. So maybe contract or freelance, temporary, right? So reshaping the relationship between education and employment. So worker in the GIG economy often need to be more entrepreneurial and flexible with a focus on specific transferable skill, digital marketing, coding, graphic design. And education and employment's outcome, high education and employment. Research consistently shows that higher levels of education are associated with better employment outcomes. So if you are having more qualification, you will get more prestigious job. College graduates tend to have lower unemployment rates and higher lifetime earnings compared to those with only a high school diploma. However, the type of degree and the field of study also play a significant role in employment prospects. For instance, degrees in STEM field, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, tend to lead more lucrative job opportunities compared to degrees in humanities. That, of course, you all know. And lifelong learning and reskilling, adapting to challenging job markets. In today's fast-paced world, where industries and technologies evolve rapidly, education is no longer just one-time experience. Individuals must engage lifelong learning. That's what every day the technology is changing, right? So under technology only we are learning and doing jobs. So we have to update ourselves and we have to be a lifelong learner. So government and cooperative initiatives also expecting new skills from you. You have to know how to use this. Nowadays, if you are joining to a job, definitely they will issue you a laptop and everything you have to done by using that lap. You have to save everything, right? So no files, no papers, right? You have to do with your laptop. And social mobility and inequality. Education as a driver of social mobility. Education as long viewed, right? If we are learning, right, even though if we are from a very poor family or maybe a different lower caste, right? If you are well educated, you will have a good future, right? So if you have good qualification, definitely you will get a good job and good salary, and your life style will be developing. And educational attainment and income equality, that is also according to your qualification, your job will be different and the salary also will be different. And the role of employers in education. So partnership between education and industry. So most of the courses, right, in management or IT faculties, right, so they are sending the students to training, right? Even the medical students are doing one year training in internship. Like these students also doing internship in relevant field, right? So they will get some hand-on experience on that, right? So this is role of employees in education. So if a person is performing very well, right? So the company will keep that person even after internship, right? So Our students also, many our students went for internship and now they are working in the same company. Employer provide training, challenges and opportunities, mismatch between education and job market needs. So this is the key challenge we have, right? So the mismatch between the skill taught in education system and those demanded by employees. So the world of work is expecting something, but we are not giving through our students. That's what they can't find jobs. Emerging industries and education innovation, new fields such as renewable energy, artificial intelligence, and biotechnology are creating new jobs. Opportunities and education system must adapt to prepare students for these emerging industries. So according to the need, we have to change our syllabus, add to curriculum, and prepare the students for that. And the conclusion, last slide, right? The relationship between education and employment is complex and ever evolving. Education provides the skills and qualification needed to access our job opportunities, while the job market influences the direction and focus on educational system. So as technology and societal needs continue to change, both education and employment must adapt. So that is so we are not changing our curriculum, right? So the whole curriculum is there. So it is not matched with our world of work skills. So lifelong learning, skill development, employee education partnership. So those are the things we have to increase. For individuals, obtaining relevant education is crucial for career success, but it must also be flexible enough to respond to the challenging demands on the labor market, right? So these are the changes took place based on the philosophical education, right? So I will upload this, right? And you read it. If you have any clarification, you can ask in the next class, right? So I think another 2 more topics are there. So within another 2 days, we can complete the this subject. Okay. So thank you for listening patiently, right? So I saw the 14, 15 people are logged in and now only 8 people. So the thing is, right, you all are doing, is it a top-up degree?
Yes, sir.
Right, so a top-up degree means you all are doing the content of 3 years within 1 year or 1.5 years. So you have to do double work, right, to get the real knowledge of that degree. So that's what you have. So you all are having huge modules, and within short period, we have to convey that to you all, right? So you have to cooperate with us. So we are preparing slides because we have to give everything. So this part is very important. New things are there in this chapter, right? So anyway, so make your education meaningful. Okay. Thank you very much. So we'll meet next week. If you have any clarification, please, you can ask. You just write down and come. So, so first 5 minutes, you can ask that question. And we can continue, right? So I think it's continue with modern trends in education. Okay, thank you.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes.
Will you do some revision questions, ma'am?
Revision questions. We'll see. Don't know whether they will give time because another two big session have to be covered. I'll just find out from there. Okay.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay. If there is any past papers, I can do. Right.
Okay. Thank you. Good night, ma'am.
Oh, good night.